just about ready to get underway. Our next exhibitor is at the gate.
They're trying to prove that they belong here.
They really have their eyes set on that podium, but this pair just hasn't been consistent.
Championship titles are elusive.
This is a difficult field.
It all comes down to this. Here we go.
When years of work come to seconds of action, give yourself every edge. Get rebound technology for faster muscle recovery with ProForce from Nutrena.
Here at Rod Patrick, we take the fit process very, very seriously because we know the importance in your performance on how you're fit. So come in, let's give you the opportunity, tell me what you're experiencing, tell me what your challenges are, and I know together we're gonna find the right answer and you're gonna be happier than you've ever been with your boots. Come see me, and thank you.
From Oak Point, Texas, the Tokyo Tex, the Kamikaze Cowboy, the Sukiyaki Jockey, the Man of Trail, Tim Kamara. And from San Antonio, Texas, the man on a mission and a mission on his mind, the man behind the wheel and keeping it real, the man that asked, how would you do it? Brad Jewett.
That's me, baby.
It's building. It's building. It's building. Tim got his care package from Nutrina.
It's really Tina's and Lena's, but I looked into it, so. Thanks, Shelly. Love it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Keeping It Real show. Tim, how we doing tonight, man?
Excellent. Having a great day. Dogs were all good today, so that was a good thing, right? So
Yeah, man. Absolutely. I'm
got
happy
my
to hear
glasses
it.
on. Got my glasses look good. Woo. Woo.
I mean, talk to me, Goose. Sorry, I'm getting music all set to give us some
Really?
background music.
Well, I'm seeing all my friends. If they're on tonight, they're all going to the Arab Nationals over in Arizona. You know.
Oh, Mr. Damianos and the like.
Yeah, I saw them all go in that direction. So good luck to you all in Scottsdale, Arizona this week. So
Excellent.
props to you guys.
Excellent. So here we are on a Wednesday night. It is Hump Day on the Keeping It Real show. And as we aforementioned, it is Type the Topic night. We used to have a specific day. It used to be Type the Topic Thursday, I think, is when we were kind of chalk talking it way back like 6-8 months ago, 9 months ago, however long it's been now.
10.
We're coming up on our 1 year anniversary, by the way. How cool is that?
I know.
That's pretty awesome. I lost my train of thought. It's Hump Day. We're here. Oh, it's Type the Topic. That's where I was on. So it's Type the Topic, and I see Sissy Anderson has already got a question in here, and we're going to get to that here in just a minute, Sissy, for sure. But just as Sissy has shown us, any questions you might have, please feel free to pop it up there. That's what we're here for tonight, and it's kind of open forum. We'll pop your question up on the screen, and you know, if Tim and I are giving some input, and you want to give us some input, by all means, please pop it up there, because we just want to do this. We don't get to interact a lot, when we have guests on, because we want to keep the guests. We want to get as much information out of our guests as we possibly can. So that's what these kind of nights are for, is for us to be able to interact with you guys. So, Hello, Marianne. Thanks for joining us tonight. So please type your questions. We're all about it, for sure.
Tonight I drew a little pattern for us tonight to talk about later and stuff like that. And Arizona's coming up. Dixie National's coming up.
Yeah.
March Arch is coming up. I mean, a whole bunch of shows. I think they're all at Bell Ringer this week. Bell Ringer's going on this week. I know Michelle's over there with Nicole, I think, and stuff.
Where is that one, in Nebraska?
Colorado, I think. That's Colorado. Denver.
I've never been to it.
Yeah.
Anybody that's watching that's maybe at the Bell Ringer, shout us out, man. Shout us out.
Yeah.
Before we get going to some of these questions, I want to touch on a special thank you to E.H. Pate.
Yeah.
Quarter Horses, for being a 1 month sponsor of the Keeping It Real show. She came in and, or I should say they came in, and Ariane, EH's wife, they had given us a check for a 1 month sponsorship. And, we said, we'll be willing to put a banner up or do whatever you want. And they're like, no, we just really believe in the show and we love the show. And so we just, while we were in Tampa, she brought a check over. And so we just want to say a special thank you to the E.H. Pate Quarter Horses for that generous sponsorship. We really appreciate that, which brings up, if anybody else feels that need, and of course, when you sponsor, as you can see, our banners across the top of us here, and we have commercials. We can go in depth as much as you want to go in depth, but if you like the Keeping It Real show, just reach out to us via Facebook, Instant Messenger, however you want to do it, and we'll get back with you on that. But thank you, E.H. Pate and Ariane. Really appreciate your support.
Just a quick one with that. I got a lot of compliments on those three brothers, the show that they did for us and stuff like that. Yeah, it was funny because they never really knew them all. They knew usually two of them, but they didn't know all three of them all the time, and it was just different ones too.
Yeah,
it was funny that I got a lot of compliments on that after Gold Coast and stuff like that. It was
awesome.
interesting. I think actually Scottsdale. I mean, not Scottsdale, Vegas. Vegas. They were telling me about that. So
Awesome.
I thought that's really cool.
Awesome.
And Chris Thompson was there too. So, yeah.
I want to give a quick shout out to our newest sponsor, and I'm wearing their hat tonight. Western Hauler, Mr. Larry Roberts. We thank you so much. And Western Hauler, their slogan forever has been the true choice of champions. Western Haulers pride themselves that they are horse people building fine quality trucks for horse people. So if you're interested in knowing more, finding out, I know if you're watching the show, I'm sure you've seen a Western Hauler truck and you're like, dang, that thing looks awesome. Call Western Hauler, 1-800-776-6012, 1-800-776-6012. Western Hauler puts out quality products. My Pete, remember the Pete I used to have, my gold Pete? It was a Western Hauler that's completely decked out. Slick stuff. They do awesome work.
Check this out. When I was in Las Vegas, right, I had this Uber, and it was a truck, and it was Western. It was all tripped out with Western Hauler in it.
No kidding.
It was like freaking me out, right?
Nice.
Yeah. I said, check that out. This is like a Western Hauler done here. Like, wow, good job. I tipped him good for that. So.
Love it. I love it.
You want to go to any of those questions, Bradford?
Yeah, let's pop up Sissy's question to start, since she was the first one to question to pop up. Excuse me. How important are expensive show clothes? Tim, do you want to start? Before I do, I'm going to read one of our show clothes sponsors. She just renewed her sponsorship for another 3 months. We thank you, Debbie Hody and Winning Couture. Winning Couture is about pushing the edge for that perfect, custom, one-of-a-kind garment. We search and source high-end fabrics from all over the world. Most importantly, our customers come first. We aren't happy unless you are completely satisfied and feel amazing in your new Winning Couture outfit. Call them today at phone number 979-277-2207, 979-227-2207. Call Debbie Hody today at Winning Couture. So we thank you, Debbie, for being on there, being a sponsor of the Keeping It Real show for, I think, 6-7 months now. So thank you so much for that.
So to go back to your question, let me just, let me tell you what I've learned on the Keeping It Real show from a couple of our guests, okay? I've heard that's not so much expensive clothes as the well-fitted clothes.
Yes.
If your clothes are well-fitted and they fit the contours of your body, a lot more props to you than just all the bling and all the bloom on it, I think. So, I mean, it has to fit the contour of your body and look, pleasant. I mean, it doesn't have to be the $10,000, $15,000 polished shirt or whatever you want to call it. To me, it depends what event, too. Showmanship, there's a little bit more bling sometimes, horsemanship. But Novacek was carrying Nowacek. She was the girl in the black, right? So you're a judge more than me, but I'm just saying all I know is well-fitting, whether it be men or women's clothing, has to be fitted correctly and a great-shaped hat. Those are two things I've learned at Keep It Real.
Yes. Very well said, Tim. And, yes, that is – for judges and trainers alike that we've had on the show, myself as well, the expense of your outfit makes zero difference. It is all about the fit. Now, there's some people in the past that have come in and you feel like they've tried to make a point. And their point being made was, I'm not gonna wear all that bling. Well, that's fine. But make sure that your non-bling outfits fit really well. Fit is very, very, very important. And it doesn't have to be, we're, like Tim said, a $15,000 outfit to be fit well. You can take it to your local tailor in town and have that fit. That's something that we probably need to make a show about, Tim. We probably need to have some people on that can speak into this a little bit more. Okay. Debbie may be willing to do it because I know Debbie's not a blingy. Winning Couture is not the blingy outfit. They very well custom fit, and a lot of their shirts are very, very I don't want to make it sound weird, but not with all the rhinestones and all that, but their fabric is amazing. My wife has a few of their shirts. And, you know, they may have a little something on their collar that's a little bit different. But if you notice at any horse shows that you go to, you'll see a lot of Winning Couture for sure.
You know, Dan mentions, he uses the word tailor, and I agree with him. Yeah.
Yep.
I remember, like, if you're doing halter, it depends what class you're doing too. Like I said, the fit is really important. You want me to tell you another Jane Frid thing, and I love propping her because I listen to her a lot, is make sure your darn boots are clean. That's for the Vollmer girls, right? I mean, hat shape. That's all the guy judges talk about, the hat being shaped correctly and the boots should be clean. Okay? Then they kind of talk about the outfit after that, a well-fitted outfit. But I know you guys like that hat, and I know you like the boots to be clean. That's for darn sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. So thank you, Sissy, so much for your question.
Thanks.
That's exactly what we want to, the kind of things we want to talk about here on Type the Topic.
Yeah, it's fun. We get to do these.
Yeah, because we can interact. And again, anybody that wants to, like Dan just did, right? And he's a very well-respected judge. So there you go, Sissy. There's somebody else that
but not the Sixers and the Lakers stuff. Come on, man.
No, come on, Jonathan. That as much as we'd like to make this a sports show. So while we're on the outfit and the hat, Glenna Paulman, did I say that right? Sorry, I don't have my screen right up here. Let's talk about hat shape. What shape is preferred? High and tight, tacked up. So taco shape. I got it. I like it. So for me, it needs to fit your head, not just the fit of it on your head, but you don't. If you got a really skinny face, I don't think you want this really wide brim. If you have a little bit plumper face like me, you don't want this really skinny brim. So any good, which Kindle's, and we're about to change our banners because Kindle's hats is one of our sponsors. And call Brooke Parrish at any time, Kindle's hats. I'll get that number maybe before the show's done. But he's very good about it. Like when he looks at you, he tries to put your crease or your right here at the front of your hat, like I don't know exactly where, but somewhere here in your eye, right? So if they sit out here, you know, for when we're talking about the pleasure or the trail or Western riding or those kind of things for me. Now, if I was a roper or something like that, it may be a little bit different deal. But I know for my showmanshippers and horsemanshippers and those type of hats, I want them to be when they're looked at, that it's very symmetrical to their head. Any additions, Tim?
You know, again, you know, like Sharon's out there too, talking about your first impression. Maybe you judges will tell me that too. Is that first impression? Does the hat flatter your face and your overall appearance, right?
Yep.
I mean, like I said, I think it has to match the shape and the width of your face, and the type of face you have should kind of somewhat accentuate. The hat should kind of match what your face looks like and don't be noticeable, different, but clean. Make sure it's clean. Hat be clean. Important, not dusty. Hate that. I'm good.
Well, I mean, very well said. And again, we thank you, Marianne, for adding in there. Sharon, we appreciate your additions as well. Because we are not the final word. We're not the expert. We're just the experts on this show. And we have the microphones.
There's a horsemanship question that we went by.
No horsemanship question. There was a performance halter question that I saw.
Where is it? Teresa Stewart. Check that one out.
Oh, well, let's go up here to Joe Witt because Joe was above that.
Yeah, love that.
So there it is. Performance halter, true performance horse versus a halter horse that gets enough performance points to show in a performance halter class. You know, AQHA is, and the judges, those are getting fewer and further between. They're not of course, we want to see the true performance horse, but some of these really good halter horses were good roping horses, and a lot of them get that. Now, you used to see the filling a barrel racing pattern, for a halter horse to be able to go through to a barrel, Again, I think those are getting fewer and further between, but I think when you see and look at the results of your major events in the performance halter, you're seeing the right horses come to the front. So really good question, Joe. Anything you want to add to that one, Tim?
Did they change the rules like for the barrel racing when they were trying to get points like that? Or isn't there some events that they have to do better than like 5 seconds closest to the lowest horse or something? No?
Yeah, something like that. I don't have my rule book in front of me, but yes.
I'm just saying that's trying to make it so those ringer halter horses don't just slide into a barrel racing with a 2-minute pattern and still get their 10 points or whatever. It's just not nice. Like I said, I see at the major horse shows, you're getting legit performance geldings, performance mares, okay?
Yep.
I think. And don't they have to show an event at the World Show too?
I believe that's right. Yeah. Again, I don't have my rule book in front of me, but yes, I believe that's right.
I think we've progressed to try to make it more fit that definition of the performance halter horse that they are going to show at the World Show and show in a performance event, not just slide in and qualify.
Right.
You want to do Teresa?
Yeah, let's hit Teresa's. What is more important in horsemanship, in your opinion? Spot on pattern, best seat and hands, or horse's ability? I know to have all three is best, but excuse me, my coffee that I'm drinking tonight, and I have a special oil in there tonight that my wife has got me that I absolutely love. But so to help this really good speaking voice, sorry, I'm cracking myself up. So to answer your question, Teresa, really good question. To have all three obviously is the best, but I think it's called horsemanship for a reason. We want to see a functioning rider that can communicate to their horse how to do all of the cues. So typically that leads to proper position and proper pattern placement. I don't want to chase that rabbit. I was about to chase a rabbit, but I'm not going to do that. So let's talk about your the proper leg position. When you ask for a stop, when you ask for a spin, when you ask for a lead departure or a trot departure or backup or anything like that, all of those things, when they're done correctly and in balance as a rider, are going to promote your score to be higher. If I had my druthers, I would much rather see an effective rider that's their heels maybe not be perfectly down and all that. They have to have good hands. If that horse looks like it's rigid and scared and not capable of doing its job, that's going to obviously take that F&E down a little bit. So in order to get all three, I think you have to have the right feel. So being able to have the proper leg position and use your foot correctly and use your hands correctly and the reins correctly, that is what leads to all three, because everybody's showing wants to have all three, right? They want to be able to put down the good patterns and all that. But that's why we have the rookie, level 1, level 2, and level 3 now, right? Because as you start out into the horsemanship, just like with any other class, it's a building process. And so, our level 1 patterns don't have as much as the level 2. Level 2 sometimes usually has the same pattern as level 3, but everything has a stair step to it so that you can get things more precise before you start adding degree of difficulty. And that's really the difference in your level 2s and level 3. Your level 1 and level 2 and your level 2 and level 3 is just the degree of difficulty that you add to it. But I hope that it helps explain the answer without going too deep into it. Because that's a whole show on its own for sure.
So do I get 2 cents out of this?
Absolutely. Let's see it.
So one, it seems like the first thing you want to have is accuracy of the pattern. Make sure that you're doing the maneuvers in the right sequence, order, and placement. I think that's one portion of it. Then as you fulfill the requirement of that piece of the pattern or maneuver, then we're looking at the seat, the hands, and the balance and the centering of your horse. I mean, each one is independent, but they all come into play together. I mean, there's different reasons why you might penalize a horse or person for each of those topics, right? Do the pattern, they're shorter, doing something wrong in the pattern or the maneuver, doing something wrong with their seat or doing something wrong with their hands. So I don't say they're equivalent. I don't know which one is stronger than the other, but they all are components of you as a judge coming up with that maneuver score, I think. No?
Yep. For sure.
So I think you should be strong at all of them. I don't think one's more than the other.
Elaborate, because I'm looking something up here.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's say it's the turnaround. Okay, the spin. Let's say it's 2 full turns to the right or something. I mean, 1, are you going to begin soft, make a turn, and stop accurate on 2? 2, what's your seat look like as you're doing that maneuver? 3, how's your hands working as you're spinning that horse? I mean, depending on the maneuver, depends on what part of your body has to be doing something. Like you might just be going straight and your hands aren't having to do very much. But like in a spin, your hand has to do more, so you're going to look at that. Your seat's probably always in play, no matter what type of maneuver you're doing, and the accuracy of the pattern's always in play. It's the stopping, the turning is, I think, handwork, okay? Like lead changing, transitioning is hands and seat. I mean, different maneuvers have different combinations of what you guys are addressing, so I think it kind of depends on what part of the maneuver, that pattern we're talking about.
Perfect.
That's my answer.
Perfect. Because I was able to find what I was looking for.
I'm a trail guy. Nice class.
Hold on. Shoot.
Right.
I'm looking up the.
How about you, Jonathan? What do you think, since you're out there?
What's your most important thing of those 3 things, Jonathan?
Yeah.
Here,
Is it seat, hands, or accuracy and pattern? Or are you watching the basketball game?
He's probably watching the basketball game. So I was looking up this because it's not an easy question to answer, but I want, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, because all of you that are watching may not have read this before. And Kona, can I send this to you and you put this up on the screen? Because if you haven't seen this, and I know Dan Train and Jonathan and Marianne and every other judge that it's coming at you, Kona.
Jim Searles is right there. Ask him.
Jim Searles, what's up, my man?
Jim Searles, if you can hear us, what do you think is more important in horsemanship? Hands, seat, or accuracy of pattern or on the maneuver? You have an answer?
Hands, seat, accuracy of pattern, performance. What's the most important? What do you look for?
Or the equivalent? Any of our judges out there want to play?
All right. Everybody's quiet. So, and Jim Charles could teach this because at our last judges conference in Dallas, he taught this. So we have, and Kona, can you add up into there the question? It's
accuracy of pattern. Love that, Deanna.
Yeah. Yep. So here we go. The Lope question. Nope, not that one. Right above it. Good pleasure, Lope. Right above Teresa. Janet. Yep. There it is. Her question is what's the correct pleasure lope? So here we go. I'm going to read this.
You want to read the question?
Really, this is right out of the rule book right here. This is my online rule book that I have, right? So what is it? Show 331.4.5. Good lope. Has an average motion, but exhibits positive characteristics in its performance like self-carriage, a steady top line, relaxed appearance, and is responsive to the rider's aids. So there's your AQHA rulebook definition of a good lope. So if you have your phone out, screenshot that so you can read that. But AQHA will send anybody that wants a rule book. So if you are interested in getting your rule book, then or wanting to know more about this, but it talks about the extremely poor lope, the very poor lope, the average lope, the good lope, the very good lope, the excellent lope. So to answer those questions, because again, we could chase that rabbit all day long, but because we have many conversations at our judges seminars about this. So it is definitely not, it's as simple as the rule book states, but there's many, many different things to elaborate on, I guess, and videos to watch and all that kind of stuff, which we're not going to do here tonight. But thank you so much for your question. We really appreciate it. And yes, we got Sharon Wellman on here too, expert as well. Seat, connection, creates accuracy. Very well. That is very concise way to say it, Sharon. Thank you so much. Everything that I said, she said it in 4 words.
Well, I love it. Dan's there, Jim's there, Sharon's there, you're there. That's what the topic's all about is sharing ideas and having the opportunity to have other judges out there, stuff like that. It's always nice to share what we all think.
So, Tim, why don't we pop up, because I don't see any new questions.
Well, can I do one thing, because I see Shelly's on?
Yes, do that, because I got to go run and get my charger from the other room. I finally have it. I got to go get
for the gear.
Yeah. Poke it up.
Got my cap. Got my Pro Force. It was Pro Force. Got my Empowers. And then my girlfriend just came home, so I actually have to give the box to her. So thanks, Shelly. It came in the mail today. I appreciate it. Don't forget that MOT bit, too, while he's getting his charger, I'll have some at Scottsdale for sure. When we come back, when he gets back here, we definitely got rapid fire. Our guests for tomorrow night. I can't say who they are yet. And then I've got my little trail map out here that I made a little pattern out there on my computer today. And I just, something to do at home. Everyone always asks me, like, what can I build at home to practice? And so I drew a pattern up here. And after the break, after the short, it's a 1-minute break, we'll come back and we'll work on mine for sure. Hi from Phoenix, in between clients. Leslie Hillman, where are you? My back, my leg. Now my right leg could use some help. I was thinking about you at Prairie Classic, Leslie Hillman. So remember, if you guys need some help when you get to Arizona, Leslie Hillman's my guy. I highly recommend him. Leslie, put your phone number down there.
I'm back.
Oh, he's just one of our sponsors for the Keeping It Real show. Oh, yeah, look at that. There's another Neutrino banner. Love that.
That'll be up loud and proud in Scottsdale.
T-shirts in the box over there.
Thank you.
There you go. You can say thank you, Shelly.
Thank you, Shelly.
Yeah, thank you, Shelly. There you go.
Hey, Tina.
Let's do rapid fire. And then we can do our little segment, and then we can do some trail questions after the turn.
Yeah, Sharon Wellman has a question there or something about showmanship as well. So there we go. Leslie Hellman just texted his there
you go
number. No freezing rain in Scottsdale. It's about to get nasty here, Jim. About to get nasty. It's going to be like a high in the 20s in San Antonio. How about that?
Yeah, I feel your love. It's happening this way tomorrow too.
Crazy.
Is it the showmanship question, or do you want me to put the rapid fire? Did I lose you?
Can you hear the music?
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay, Brad Jewett. Ready?
Let's do it.
Name the last thing you did that was outside your box.
Oh my gosh, that's a great question, but I guess I stay in my box.
Pass.
I would on a photo shoot with my wife.
Okay, there you go. If you could change your first name, what would you pick?
The good bull rider, Lane Frost guy.
Lane. Okay. Lane. Okay. What could be on your gag reel from the year 2020?
Quite a few keeping it real clips, I am sure.
What Walt Disney fictional character would you like to meet?
Minnie Mouse.
Really? Okay.
Gotta go with the girl. Man, we got June Liston watching from Tokyo. How about that?
Nice.
That's awesome.
Who's the best guard in the NBA this year?
Steph Curry.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
Kona. That was for Kona.
Right answer. Wow. Okay, what female celebrity do you find attractive?
Where do I start?
One.
Oh my gosh, you're totally throwing me for a loop. I can't think of her name.
Pass.
My wife always teases me about her because she was on that movie Rent. She was the drug addict girl. And I was like, she can sing and dance.
Okay. Name a movie you've watched many times.
Top Gun.
Okay, nice. What is it?
Just watched it the other night.
What?
I made Monica watch it with me the other night.
Oh, wow. What is the dumbest way you ever got injured?
So when I played football, I was holding the tackling dummy. I was, holding the deal, and the guys would come up and hit it, and I was holding it wrong, and he put his helmet right on my wrist and broke my wrist.
Oh, wow. Ouch. Ouch. Name?
Jennifer Aniston. That's a good one too, Jim.
Name an 80s song that I play in the trail pin all the time.
Journey. My favorite song that they sing. I'm bad at this rapid fire thing, man.
Don't Stop Believing.
Yes, there you go. I'm really bad at it.
What's the most interesting thing you've heard on YouTube or television in the past 2 days?
Monkey Works. Monkey Works. He watches all the military planes over the whole world, and I get on there and I watch it. He's awesome.
Okay, so can we talk about that? Was the 10 questions.
That was the 10 questions.
Yeah, it was.
Man, I'm really bad at rapid fire, Tim.
Yeah, I had some different tough questions tonight. So
I'll say, yeah. It's like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite thing to drink?
What do you tell tomorrow night? How about, do you want to talk about tomorrow night?
I do. Kona. Be ready, Kona, because we are going to have what would I call it? Epic, legendary couple that's going to lead us into Valentine's weekend. It's going to be, drum roll, please. Leonard and Lee Berryhill are going to be joining us, and we have a little video clip of them right now.
Hi, I'm Leonard Berryhill.
And I'm Lee Berryhill.
Join us tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, on the Keeping It Real show, live from the frozen tundra of Talala, Oklahoma. We'll tell you about what 30 years together can be like.
And he'll do all the talking.
Of course.
I love it. Of course.
I mean, it must be so cold there. Like his mouth couldn't move very fast. And for Leonard, we know that's got to be kind of tough, right? Wow. I mean, frozen tundra of Talala, Oklahoma, coming at you tomorrow night.
There you go. That should be kind of fun, huh? And Lee acts all shy, and she's not shy.
I have a feeling once we get her opened up, she's gonna rock and roll.
Yeah, she has a few stories she can tell us about a few of our friends and stuff like that. But 30 years, that's good for them, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sure.
Ready to do some trail?
Yeah, well, let's touch on Sharon's question real quick.
Sure.
I got to scroll back down here to it.
Showmanship.
Carrie Nawacha, what was my answer supposed to be? My wife? Oh, Sharon Wellman said my wife. That's supposed to be. But she's a model. She's not an actress. So
yeah.
That got me out of that. I mean, that's where my head went first, but then I realized that she's.
That's not how the question was asked.
So, showmanship. Discuss likes, dislikes, maneuvers executed at different speeds. So, it's not really a question, but she'd like to discuss it. For me, and there's so many great showmanshippers out there right now, Tim.
Yep.
It's crazy because we've gotten away from all that fake squatty trotting stuff. There's just so many elegant like exhibitors, I guess is the only way to say it. As far as likes and dislikes, I love to see, just like in horsemanship, I love to see that horse be soft, attentive to that handler's when they're trotting, when they're walking. I like that the footfall of that horse and the footfall of that handler to match up. In that pivot, I like it to not look over animated. And the same thing, when that horse is pivoting, I want that handler to be able to kind of match the intensity of that turn. And then the dislikes for me is when that horse stops crooked, looks afraid in the backup, when the backups maybe are way too long and overdone instead of just step with the exhibitor. So that maybe we've gotten away from the trots being squatty and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like in the backups it's become overdone. And if you're ever showing to me, a fast backup isn't just the winner. Some horses can back really fast and very precise and correct and still soft. I love that as a judge. That's kind of, that's part of pattern placement for me when we're talking about dislikes. When you finish a pivot and you're supposed to trot straight away and you overturn or underturn, it makes that horse crooked. What else? I think the backup is probably my biggest dislike of some of the things that I see. And then that kind of explains the executed at different speeds as well. Tim, is there anything that you've heard through the Vollmer grapevine that you want to add?
Well, again, I always have to keep using Jane Fridd as my role model because I always listen to her a lot. How they come off the line, like when they're on the wrong offside and they come across and start their pattern, and just how they get off that first marker. Like, do you want it, or am I going to judge you, or are you just kind of being without being fake? Does that make any sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like.
Oh, you just froze up there for a second.
There you go. But just not showing the natural ability, just looking natural as you do everything. And then the last one is maybe you're not the winner, but if you make that small mistake, how you recover and not give it up. And that's the true art to maybe being off.
For sure.
Still together a little bit.
Yeah, and you can see that when people have practiced that, when you've got an arc and you've got to then come to the judge and you see him swing way too wide and then come in and then finally get in line versus that one that comes right in to that line and puts that horse right in front of the ring steward there. It's really
especially if you're early in the class too, where you haven't got to watch anybody.
Yep.
Like when those first four horses that are first to go in that class. And you show strong, I really like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those are mine.
So we have a trail question, which we're going to get to probably when we're about to do this next segment here that's going to finish our show up tonight. Tim's got a little trail pattern for us, and it's in some tips of the day that he's going to bring up through the trail pattern that he's about to pop up. But her question is, when do you stop before a walkover in trail? When do you not stop? When do you not stop? Right?
First, you got to make sure it says stop or break to a walk. That's for sure.
Right.
But 6 foot. 6 foot's mine. Okay. Like when that pole sticks out, well, I'm just going to say 6 foot I like. So it gives me 2 or 3 steps in before I have to go over the first pole, because I love my horse's legs to match up before they step over that pole.
Yeah.
And if I have to break to the walk, it might be 8 foot. So I have a little chance to break down and then get my horse's legs to match before I have to go through that set of walkovers. But I hate to go stopping right on top of the poles and just having a 0 step and then going for it. I just think it's really hard for your horse's back legs to match up to your front, or they have to start chasing those front legs around. Like I said, I love to be stopping, but that pause should be like instant, like stop and let's go. Don't stop, park, drop his head, make me wait 2 seconds and start kicking with your feet to get him to go and he can't go. Hate that. Okay.
Well, and I think if I can add something to that, 'cause if she's maybe asking, if it says break, stop, or break to a walk, I think the thing to do there, because I'll coach my people on it too, because they'll ask me the same thing, and I'm like, if you're getting up to that, and if you're loping up and it says stop or break to a walk, typically my horses stop pretty hard. And so I kind of sit forward, and I want to keep that balance, because if they stop too hard, it's going to be hard to get them to engage back into that walk, right? And so then if Tim's got these walks really jacked up or something like that, you've got to have up, you got to have their belly up, and they've got to have a balance to them. And so if they're a little sucked back, if you've had a really hard stop, then immediately I'm going to say, okay, I don't want you to get back here too far. I want everything to kind of come up and stay up. So there's a proper way. Now, if I'm showing a green horse and I'm trotting or loping up there and it's a stop or break to a walk, and I feel him kind of leaning towards a walk, then I'll stop and let him reset, just the exact opposite of what I just explained. If that horse feels forward, then I'm going to ask that horse to stop. And in about that 4 to 6 foot range, like Tim's saying, because especially with the green horse, I want to give it time to be able to get its feet, me to know where it's going to place its feet, because if it's green, I probably haven't shown it a bunch, and I'm not sure how it's going to get to that obstacle. So I'm going to give myself at least probably 6 feet to figure out, okay, where's this horse's footfall, and so that I can place him at that first pole wheel.
For sure. I'm in.
Okay.
Conan, why don't you pop my pattern up and let's talk about it. So this baby here is the lope, trot, lope that I would do if I was just not worrying about slow work. And we've talked about slow work a lot, in many of our sessions, but, just something that I can lope, trot in practice. So let's do number 1, which is the T-bar spoke, okay? So you'll see to the right, I'll say 2 foot corner versus number 2 obstacle where I say 6 foot corners. And what that means is that's the distance from the 12-foot pole from the cone. So on number 1, it's a 2 foot corner away from the cone. On number 2, it's a 6 foot away from the cone. So when it's 2 foot away from the cone, usually it's 3 strides or 3 landings around the turns and the quadrants. When it's 6 foot away from the cone, it's more like 4 or 5. Okay. So I love this. I love making you do this one. Okay. Number 1, where you got to lope to 1 bar from a straight line. That's like one of my favorites. Good test, especially at the beginning of a pattern. Super hard to do. Okay. So, i.e., maybe you ought to practice that once in a while.
I did it about 50 times today, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, that's the move you ought to practice, so, because that loping off a stop or a walk into the right lead, deciding when to pick it up and how many strides you get before that first jumping on that first pole, that's the test question, okay?
Well, and
then go ahead.
If I can sidebar on that, Guy Stoops told me a long time ago, and I see Cleves on here tonight, but one thing in a pleasure horse is all about that departure and that first stride. And so if you're not practicing that at home for the trail, you know, if you've got a spoke, or if you just got a single pole, or you got multiple poles in a spoke, if you don't have a good first stride and a good departure, and it's leading into what one of our judges had said about another class, is that first impression. And so, you know, when I'm schooling one in a pinwheel or whatever at home, and then I'll stop and I'll back them up and I'll put my hand down and I'll practice that show step into that lope, just like I would if Tim did have that first lope maneuver, just like we're seeing right here on this pattern.
Then to add on to the T-bar lope, I call this, it'll tease you after you jump that first pole to turn right away. Okay? Yeah. It'll make you turn right away, which will put you in a predicament for pole 2 of that obstacle. So you got to learn to address the one pole, maybe go out a little further than you think, so you get a little straighter to pole 2, so you make that arc or that 3-stride turn a little softer, so you can stay in a straight line to get to the second obstacle, which is the next set of lope overs, and it's lope, not lope trot. So a lot of horses sometimes after they finish an obstacle like to break, so that's why I like to do lope sometimes at home, just so they don't think about breaking every time they finish an obstacle.
Especially when you got those 2, 3, 4 stride gaps between those poles, right?
Right. So it kind of turned, I mean, I'm just drawing something here that would be a great thing to school, okay? I mean, once you go, it's all right lead going this way, and then you go backwards and do it left lead going the opposite way. But then the next corner, okay, obstacle number 2, still loping, because it's 6 foot from the poles and 6 foot in the gaps, then it should be 1 landing, 4 strides, and then 1 landing again. And like I said, you're kind of going into a spiral, so just trying to not get too bendy off the second pair of poles on obstacle number 2, so you're not leaning to the right. I think that's really important to practice.
Sure.
Okay. Then your first transition lope to trot, you know, especially when you have a bending pole, you know, a lot of times people, I call it coming in hot, when you're coming in at a bad angle, and you're probably going to make the first pole, but you're going to get yourself in a predicament, pole 2 or 3 or 4 if there's more. You know, it's all about runways to the pole for me. Like you need to get a sight line, what you think the best route to that obstacle is. And if you're spiraling in and you're cutting in a little bit, you're not going to be very good at that first trot over. So again, when you get yourself in that predicament on obstacle 3, it really affects number 4. So it's like a domino thing here, right? If you're bad on 1, you can probably be bad on 2, and you're going to get yourself in trouble on 3, and it just keeps escalating until you get yourself out of ways and breathe a little bit and get better runway to the next obstacle. Now, number 4 is the right lead lope again, but this should be 2-stride. I didn't put the distances here. It's 12 foot, about 2/3 out, and 6 or 7 foot on the inside. And if you're going to measure this at home, I'd probably put 6 foot on each side of the cone. It could be 6 foot, it could be 4 foot, it could be 2 foot, depending how much arc I want to give you guys.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been doing 6 foot, you know, because it's junior green, you know, whatever. I would say in this exercise, because it's at home, I would do that 6 foot away from that center cone. Okay, again, can you get from that trot to that right lead lope? Can you get loped off A? Can you get a good angle to those 3 bars to get around those and still bend to the next obstacle?
You know, I'll give a tip here. You know, if I'm going to this obstacle, to the trots, I would try to lead with my right front foot, because that's going to help me be able to keep my horse shaped to the right. I mean, like, I'm going to come in there with that intention. In other words, when I go to those first jog overs, I'm going to have a little shape to my right. Even if I end up with the left foot, I'm going to try to hold that shape, and so it's going to set me up for that right lead lope.
So let's say you get finished to obstacle 4, the 2-stride right lead lope overs, and break to the jog. Now here's probably the time you get to breathe a little bit, because it's 3 straight trot overs. So A, can you get your transition lope to trot? Can you get organized? Can you slow your brain down and not get too excited here, because that's like the free obstacle, number 5. And then 6, okay, we always talk about wheel of death, okay, wheel of death. Wheel of death is when there's like singles on the outside and a 2-bar in the middle. So anytime you see the obstacle, whether it's this direction or up and down, I call it wheel of death, okay? And the problem is because it puts you in a predicament, okay? Just if you're in the sweet spot on this thing, it rides like it glides, okay? But when you get out of whack or you come in hot on this thing, man, it could be messy. A lot of bad things can happen here. And that's why it's called Wheel of Death instead of just a regular spoke. Me, when I do Wheel of Death or I coach it, I always worry about that third quadrant, if that makes any sense. So if I was counting poles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, from 5 to 6 is usually the quadrant that tells me what's going to happen. Either you're going to get strung out that one, or you're going to start cutting in, looking too far ahead. That's the money quadrant. The first quadrant from pole 2 to 3 is usually pretty normal. And then what happens is from the single third pole to the fourth pole, you start getting hung out a little bit. And then you jump the double, and then this is what something happens. Either you need to speed up for one stroke to catch up to distance, or you got to cut in a little bit, or you're on the sweet spot, and you can just make around that turn. And then finally, you got to make the last decision. Are you high or are you low to make sure you get your last pass, because you got to go over those two poles a second time. So, I mean, quadrant 3 for sure is the one I worry about. And 4, you got to learn to manage what happened in quadrant 3. Does that make sense, Brad?
Yep, absolutely. I had issues with that today too, and I'd set that up because I'd set something like that up exactly what you have right there, and that you're explaining it perfectly what the tendency is. Yeah, and then finally, something I haven't showed you guys yet, but it's definitely in the future is the W trot. Okay, when I was in Venice, they had this jump that had this W on it like this. And I mean, back in the day, we used to do this all the time. You could do it walkovers, trotovers, actually lopovers too. But I'm sure I'm going to use this once or twice somewhere in the near future, right? So until you learn to, it's more a visual. It's more a visual than anything else. There's a 6-foot straight line down the center, but it's hard to find sometimes. So a lot of times, because your eyes are moving too much left or right, and you can't see it, that means your horse is going to get 2 to a 3 or 2 to a 1. But if you kind of get your angle right at the beginning and get straight head onto this thing, it should just ride 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And so would it matter coming in there? You want to start with a left or a right, or because it's not really going to matter once you get in there? It really doesn't matter. Probably usually the outside foot. Like if I was doing it this direction, I think it'd be left, right, left, right. It's tricky. Yeah, it's tricky because the best foot. Your middle gap there would be tough for him, but then the first. Yeah, either way. But that's, like I said, I would do this whole line going the direction to the right and then flip around and just do the whole thing backwards and do it on my left lead. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for something simple, but does the things that I like the T-stride lopovers. I like the Wheel of Death. I like the T-bar spoke. I like the 4 strides around a turn sometimes. I mean, it has a multitude for just something that's easy to set up at home. I think it's 24 poles or 25 poles. But if you don't have that many poles, you don't have to do the whole thing, but you can do parts of it, okay? But, this is what I hear all the time in the field. They go, what, can you draw me something I can just set up at home just so I can practice and lope, trot, lope, and all the different combinations you like, I mean, this is something I would suggest. I like it. I think I'm stealing it. And like I said, like my terminology is either a 2-foot corner or a 6-foot corner, like on those spokes and stuff like that. So unless it's a weird thing, most of the time it's 2 foot away from the cone for those poles or 6 foot away from those cones. Like I said, it's fun because you can go forwards and backwards. If you want to skip one, you could. You can change the lope to the trot. I mean, there's so many combinations in here because they're all like 6-foot gaps. So you can trot everything if you want. If you're a walk trotter, you can, trot lope, trot lope, trot lope, or lope, trot lope, trot lope. A lot of different combinations there, but it's a very versatile little practice course to have for sure. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I like it. Great tip of the day, right? Yeah, I think so. It's just what TrailMate does, right? Again, if you're on your phone, you can screenshot it, or you can go back and watch it and screenshot it. But that is a great course for everybody to be able to go in and be able to set up. It doesn't take 100 poles. Right. I mean, that's a trick. I mean, you got to know what my flavors are, right? And everything you see there is what I use a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
But just something that's built, something you could build at home. The measurements are all there and stuff like that. And especially the W, because you guys haven't seen the W very much. You need to start working on that because I'm going to learn to master that thing,
Yes, sir.
And I would say it's like, on the outsides of the V's and stuff, it's probably 1 foot or 2 foot, Like I would build the centerpiece first and then build the two outside parts of the W and see how it rides.
It's good.
And just to get straight enough, you just open up those gaps a little bit. How's that?
Excuse me.
Any other trail questions? How are we doing?
Everybody said great tips.
Yeah. Yeah, tell it to Kelly Hogg. She can bear practice. I just saw her last week.
Well, your next stop is Dixie, right?
Dixie, yeah. Next week's Dixie.
Going to Dixie.
Yeah, and then get ready to load the bus and fly to Arizona.
Very good. Level 1 championships update. I'm not sure what that is, but Diane, if you have go ahead, Tim.
How am I hearing it? I don't know. I think I think everything's going to November. I think.
Is that right?
I haven't heard. I just thought I heard.
I haven't heard either.
I have a weird feeling that we're not splitting it up. I think we're gonna bring everything at the same place again. That's what it feels like.
I did hear that through the grapevine. I just haven't heard anything official.
Right. Yeah. So if you want to just hear what we hear, I say we're all going to show it all together in November. I think the level ones the youth is going to go to Youth World, and the amateurs and select are going to come to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That's how I feel it.
I would agree with that. We want to talk about our shows coming up. We talked about tomorrow.
Yep.
Is our Valentine's with the 30-year wedded Berry Hills. We Monday have from High Point Performance Horses, Miss Beth Case. And on Wednesday next week, I'm calling him out because he's on vacation right now, Mr. Anthony Montez. He's been that
dodging us.
Yeah, just dodging us. Try it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. So I put it down. I'm gonna text him here as soon as the show's over. I hope he's enjoying his vacation. But don't forget next Wednesday.
For sure.
On the Keeping It Real show.
Yeah.
It's
a great show tonight. This is fun. I miss doing this.
What's that?
I really miss doing Type the Topic.
Well, I know. That's what I was just going to say, too. It's always kind of fun for us to just be able to talk about whatever comes up. And we've had good
good input.
What do I want to say? Good interaction tonight, right?
Input. Yeah. Great questions tonight, you guys. Great questions.
Well, I apologize for that, Christy. I wish I could help you with your weather, but we're about to get really, really cold here as well. We're going to get into the teens here, man.
What's it supposed to be here tonight, Tina?
I don't know, but Monday night is 4 degrees.
Oh, like 4 degrees?
4.
Monday's 4.
Wow. Yeah, I think Monday's our cold day here too. That's going to be nuts.
Well, I went outside today and I sold some poles and stuff like that. And there's little icicles on the poles. It's kind of,
oh, you've already got it up there, huh? Yeah. We're going to be, I don't think we're going below freezing tonight, but tomorrow's when it'll all kind of start.
I think it's supposed to rain tonight.
So button up, everybody. Stay warm this weekend. We got the chiropractor coming in. I got a chiropractor coming in from California. He does Bob Baffert's Triple Crown.
Yep.
Winning a horse. He does all the Disney's Clydesdales and he's got a great practice out there. Anyway, he's a good friend of mine. He's coming out here this weekend. Hopefully the weather doesn't kick him out, but Saturday he's supposed to be adjusting all the horses, so I'm kind of excited about that.
What's Miss Shelley asking there? Can you read that?
So Shelley, we did those shows of our Vegas trails, right after Vegas, and there was actually some of the the stuff that Tim was talking about with those gaps between the poles. I'm like, yeah, I remember doing that. That was really kind of difficult.
Maybe at Arizona we can film the maiden class or the 4 and 5 year old class.
Yep.
Are you sure?
Hey, I want to keep propping everybody or sending everybody when it finally comes to fruition, the Horse Show Network app. Thank you very much, Amy, for those sweet words. But we want everybody to download it. Doesn't mean you have to spend a dime. It's going to be a free download to where that's where you are going to be watching the shows. So we'll let you know when that happens because we don't want anybody to miss any shows. But keep an eye open on Facebook and keep watching the shows, and we'll let you know when the app is live. All right, everybody. I think that's going to do it for Tim and I on Type the Topic Wednesday, what we have tonight.
Tomorrow night. Come back tomorrow night, you guys. Leonard and Lee.
Come back. It's going to be fun. Live from the frozen tundra of Talala, Oklahoma. Leonard and Lee Berryhill are going to be joining us, giving us all their stories, which I'm sure there will be quite a few stories.
Yes, for sure.
All right, everybody. Tim, are you good?
Yeah, peace out, everyone.
All right.
Cam did a great job.
Take us out. Everybody, thanks again for watching. It's been a fun night. Appreciate all the feedback.